Hi, I'm Savannah. We're in Apache Junction, Arizona right now. And welcome to my little van tour. This is Dolly, my home. I've been traveling in her since July of 2021 with my cat George, and I'm having a blast. So my kitchen area was designed mostly after I fit my bed in. It was kind of like whatever I had left was what I could make room for because I wanted a full-size bed. So I have an induction stovetop under here, which is nice, one little cooktop. With the induction cooktop, I definitely have to be a little more aware of my power, mostly when it's cold or like in the mornings. So I actually just recently got a jet boil so that I don't have to worry about it in the mornings, just because when the batteries are colder, it just pulls it a lot lower, a lot faster. So my sink, I really wanted it. I wanted like the farmhouse style sink, but a lot of them are really expensive and really big. So I actually went for a bathroom sink. So the countertop is, I think it's just pine, and it was like one of those like project boards, like a big project board, I think from Home Depot. And it was all just one piece, but a bigger board. And then I just cut it to the size, and I knew because I wanted to have these, that I'd have to just like play around a little bit. And then I open a little silverware thing back here. So for storage underneath of my countertop area, I have these two little drawers. This one has my like washcloths and everything, and this one is a junk drawer, which I think is very necessary. When I built it, I kind of didn't think through because I built the stove side and the sink side separately, and then like just put them together. But since I centered the stove and I centered the sink, and then I was like, well, now I have these weird spaces that I kind of wasted. So I'm glad I was able to get even just like a small little drawer. So under my stove, I have some extra dishes, my trash can, extra food way in the back. It goes really deep, which is really nice. And I just added this shelf recently, and it's a game changer. So much extra storage now. But so everything under here is just dishes and kind of random miscellaneous items. So the reason that I did the tanks like this is really because I didn't know about I know some people undermount them to their vans or having one like stationary. I wasn't I was just sending it on the water system, totally wung it. And I think I watched one YouTube video. I was like, that seems right. I don't mind, I think it's nice because I don't have to have a hose to like fill up somewhere. I can bring these in to a building, which I've found places before to get free water, but like the water's in the building, and couldn't do that if I had one that was stationary in the van. So for upper cabinet storage, I had this nice space up here. Wanted to obviously have a space for dishes and food. So I've got little hooks on the side to keep everything latched when I drive. And then I have all of my dishes up here, other than I have more down there. And that works nicely. I don't need tons. And then I have food over here. So for my cabinet cover, I used burlap because it was cheap and really light. I wanted kind of like the rattan look or like the cane webbing, but it was like I was finding it to be more expensive than I wanted, and I think this was like $2 a yard. So I just stapled it on the inside, which doesn't look great from the inside, but you can't see it from the outside. So it works fairly nice. I probably should have backed it with something. I should have put a piece of wood behind it, because sometimes if I'm driving around crazy, some of my things will like push on the burlap and then it stretches a little bit, so it's not perfectly taut anymore. But I love it, and it was cheap. I wanted a little bit extra. I've seen a lot of vans that have like the little countertop like right by the door, or like over here, but I didn't quite have the room for that, and I think it would have felt really crowded if I had done something like that. But I needed actually more space and storage, and also like a place to feel like I could sit that wasn't just in my bed. So I made this little box that's got a nice little cushy cover, and then also my dirty laundry. And then it moves, which is really great because then I can just kind of shuffle it around as I do what I do. Under here I have my litter box for my cat. I have a little hole for him to get in, and then it pulls out so that I can scoop it. I have his food, toys, extra litter stored back here. He really doesn't use it much. A lot of people think, oh, does it stink? But because he goes in and out, he doesn't enjoy using it because it's his home too. So in this drawer I have my fridge. I have a little latch so it doesn't fly open, or a little hook, and then it just pulls out all the way. So I have a 12-volt Dometic fridge. I believe it's 35 liters, so it doesn't pull very much power when it's plugged into my DC outlet. I have a broken cord for a little while, so it's nice because I can, then that cord was broken, I could use the AC cord and just plug it into my inverter, which was really nice to have that option instead of have all my food go bad because my cord broke. So I love it. It's working very nicely. It doesn't pull hardly any power, and it stores just enough food for one person. Overall, I'm very happy with my kitchen. I think it works nicely for my needs. I think with my new added shelf, I have a lot of storage. I don't need tons. The only thing, I wish I had space for a bigger sink so I didn't have to do dishes every day. But overall, I love it. I love this little secret silverware compartment. My newly added spice rack, I love that as well. I did have my spices in the drawer, but now I have a junk drawer and a spice rack. That's very cute. So I love it. I don't think that there's much I would change with the space that I have. So I think the idea of van life for me had always kind of been something, like when I was younger, I had like an infatuation with like Volkswagen vans, and I was like, oh, I'd love to just like travel the world in a van. But it was always something that I just kind of like said as like, a dream thing that I hadn't really taken seriously until a couple years into college. And then I was like, I was trying to figure out in what capacity I wanted to travel. I knew I wanted to do some traveling. I was trying to decide whether I should study abroad or whether I should backpack or what I was gonna do. And then I got a cat, and I was like, I know that I want to bring my cat with me traveling. And the van building and the van life is what allowed for that in the best way. So it was kind of a mix of things. I mean, obviously I saw people on Instagram and I was like, wow, that looks so cool. Like, I would love to do that. And then seeing more and more people do it. And then also just kind of like being a little bit of a standstill as far as like, what do I do with my time? Like, what do I want to do with myself and my life? Like, how do I want to live the life that I get to live, and actually experience it and enjoy it? And this is what happened. One of my friends, I was talking to a friend, and she was like, we were talking about traveling, and she was like, why don't you just buy a van? Like, you've talked about it for a long time. Like, why don't you just do it and just go? And I was like, and that's when it really like had clicked, like, oh, I could actually do that. And then a few months later, I started saving and bought a van. When I first hit the road, I definitely was thoroughly surprised by the community that came with van life. I think based on like some of the van people that I followed on Instagram, a lot of them just seemed to be like doing their own thing, traveling, just kind of like exploring, and I had never really seen the big community that I'm in now. I went to Descend on Bend in September, and that's where I met a bunch of people, and I fell in love with it. Like, the people, the welcoming feeling of the community it's been incredible. And it's just like such an interesting, like, you can just show up as you are. And everybody just like allows that, but also pushes for you to grow. And I feel like I have grown and matured a lot since I hit the road. And I have not once felt lonely. So behind my kitchen area is my bed is right next to it, right alongside of it. I wanted to make sure I had a full-size bed so that I could starfish, spread out, and it fits, in the Promaster, it fits perfectly this way. I didn't have to cut the bed at all, which I was like intending to have to cut the bed, but I didn't. So I went for pretty large above bed storage because it's small in here. I needed space for my toiletries, really. In here I've got toiletries, I've got jewelry, I've got hair stuff, probably too much stuff. And then in my other cabinet back here, I've got some camera stuff, some extra clothes, and then some crafting things, some knitting and crocheting and yarn. So back here I have this nice big window. Have my curtains in front of it. I love this window because I can have this little, I can open it and I have a little screen, which is really nice because then with this window open and my fan on, it pulls right across my bed, and it's really nice, and I don't have to worry about remembering to roll up my front windows if I wanted that cross breeze anywhere in my van. And this is nice too. I can crack it for my cat and he can look out and do cat things. So I love that. I got it from Van Windows Direct, and the installation was a little difficult. I did it by myself. There were some miscalculations on where the glue should go, but overall, I did fear at first that it was going to fall off because I didn't think I did it right, but it has not fallen off and it does not leak. So definitely fairly straightforward. In my bed area, I also have I have a basket here and I have a basket here. And I mostly wanted those for yarn, so I would have a little bit extra space to bring something for me to do in my free time, to store some things. And I was worried that they were going to be like in the way of my head when I was sleeping, but I found perfect ones that don't stick out too far and aren't anything crazy. So they're working really nicely and I have easy access to my yarn when I'm feeling creative. Okay. So here I have my vanity. I had to have a mirror somewhere. I would have loved to have a full body mirror, but I don't have enough space for that. So small mirror we went with, and then I built this little shelf thing so that I could have some items out. And then I added some hooks here just to hang also things I wanted easy access to, my cat's collars, headlamp, my keys, so I don't lose them, lose them frequently. So my whole van build, I did myself, all DIY with the help of my dad and his brain power. I knew, one, I couldn't afford to have somebody else build, so I was going for a budget build and a DIY build. And I'm also just enjoy crafting and projecting and making things, and I knew it would be a big project, but I knew it would be a big learning experience, and that was something that I was looking forward to. And then also to be able to fully customize it how I wanted, and see what I could do with the space. During the van build, there were a lot of things, well, mostly everything that I just really had no idea how to do. I went into it knowing that I was gonna have to do a lot of research, a lot of YouTubing, a lot of just testing and probably making mistakes and then redoing things. There are things that I did have to redo. But it was a big learning experience. And it was really nice to get that, it's nice to come out of it with this project that I created and then I love because I created it and I put so much work into it, and to know that I could do it was really pretty awesome. It's a good feeling, especially, people are like, oh, so cute, I love your build, and I'm like, thank you, I worked really hard on it. So in the back of my van, I have what I call my garage. It's just, I think it was just like an outdoor toolbox that I got at Tractor Supply. I keep a little padlock on it, and then inside I've got a volleyball, I've got backpacks, I've got a couple tubes, I keep my chairs and my shovel in here. I didn't want to buy like an $800 aluminum box to put on the back. I couldn't afford it. So I made do with a janky box from Tractor Supply. It's just bolted straight through the van door. It looks a little sketchy because it kind of rocks, but I actually installed it that way so that I could open the lid, because if I had installed it snug, it would have been bending on itself and pushing on itself. So I just did it that way. It looks like it's sagging and falling off, but it has not moved since I put it on. So this is the back side of the van. On the inside, all of my underbed storage. I've got 2 drawers of clothes. You can't have too many. My cat hides in here as well. He's not happy about the sun. So I've just got 2 very full drawers of clothing. People have asked if it like bothers me to have to get out of the van to get my clothes. I haven't had a problem with it. Could be an inconvenience if I wanted it, if I let it, but it has not bothered me in the slightest. And then over here I just had some extra little space, so I've got a little cabinet with some more crafting things, sewing machine, couple extra, I got a little projector, some extra camera gear in there, and that's my rear storage. I also have this bookshelf, which I love. It's very full, but it had this weird little space back here, and I wanted to do something with it, so I was able to make a nice little bungee bookshelf, and it works very nicely. I think a lot of the things I felt was like worrying about what others thought, which I think a lot of people do, but recognizing that like nobody else is living your life but you, and so you're the only one that has to spend every single day with yourself, so you're the only one that like can decide whether that's good and whether you like it and how to make it better. And so that was just kind of, I just decided that I didn't want to spend my days doing things that I didn't enjoy if I didn't have to, even if it only meant, saving up and traveling for 6 months or a year, like that, to know that I could have that experience and then also be able to change my mind, and like accepting that it wasn't an end-all decision, like I don't have to live in a van forever, or like I can do all of this and I could hate it and then still be able to change my mind. And that I think that's the great thing about letting go of some of that, is like not worrying about like oh well, what if I get a van and then I don't like it, and then like I don't know, and then what are people gonna think if I just like sell it again, or so I think for me, letting go of a lot of that was definitely a big thing, a big helping factor. The best place to find me online would be Instagram, where I stay most active. My Instagram is noodlefay23. Yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed my van tour of Dolly, and thank you for watching.